What's up, EV Clan? Alex Espion here, and welcome back to the next episode of the Pokemon Red Randomizer Nuzlocke. I go to take one step and can't even take one step before I run into another encounter. Here we are, in Victory Road. Big old cave that's pretty linear, to be fair. Like, other caves in this game, like Rock Tunnel, was a nightmare to get through. But we started going through Victory Road last episode. And I think we might be able to finish this episode, just because, like, unlike Rock Tunnel, it's not, like, super confusing with a lot of ladders that lead every which way. I feel like there's not a lot of branching paths that go off to nowhere in Victory Road. It's just kind of, like, a relatively straight line with some diverging paths, like some ladders that go down to, like, special bonus rooms or whatever. But otherwise, it's just sort of a straight line, I feel. I don't think there's a lot of deviation, which means that Victory Road is going to be much faster, because I just think there's, like, less routes, there's less places to get lost in, so I feel like Victory Road is going to take a lot less time than Rock Tunnel did, and therefore, while Rock Tunnel took us, I believe, 3 episodes, I think Victory Road will only take us 2, and so this will be the final episode, will be in Victory Road. But yeah, if you missed the last episode, we were met with a tragic turn of events, as I'm about to show you, just give me 1 second, while I go to my party here, and show you that Gerald has died. Unfortunately, the Magmar that has been with us since the very beginning, I believe our second Pokemon, our first encounter that we caught. I think we may have run into other things before Gerald, but I believe they were the first encounter that we actually ended up catching. And overall our second Pokemon, because obviously the first one was the starter. Which, thank goodness, is still alive, knock on that wood. I heard rumors of a child prodigy. Well, that would be me, I'm sure. But, yeah, it's such a bummer, because we've had them for so long, and I don't think it really set in during the episode, but after I stopped recording, it definitely took its toll. Like, people who don't do Nuzlocks don't realize that, like, you do get attached to these Pokemon, as stupid as it is that they're little, like, just like little pieces of code on the screen, and it's like, oh yeah, you get attached to it. It's not real, it's just an imaginary animal in a video game. But then, while that is true, you do sort of get used to seeing it, you sort of get used to having it on your team, and then when it dies, it does sort of take a toll, because then you're just like, well, that was one of my favorites, that one really grew on me. Like, I didn't really like Gerald at the beginning. I thought, at the beginning, I was thinking, like, dang, this fire type has no fire type stab. This sucks. And it did have fire type stab at one point, and I think I deleted it, and that was a big mistake. Honestly, Gerald probably would have been much better throughout the playthrough as a whole if I just hadn't accidentally deleted Gerald's only fire type stab. Like, that is my fault. My apologies. Really, one of the only reasons why Gerald was so useless was because I deleted their fire type stab right off the bat by accident. So it's kind of my fault that Gerald was useless, but they were useless. They were sort of useless throughout most of the playthrough. And then they finally got Fire Punch, and they ended up getting used a lot more. So I'm glad that Gerald did end up getting Fire Punch, and I'm glad that we did get to use Gerald sort of to their fullest. The rumors were true. Because I think that the past few gyms, while he got, like, very little usage, he got a ton of usage at the beginning of the playthrough, because we just caught him. He was, like, a newly caught Pokemon, and we didn't have a lot of encounters yet, and we really didn't have anything better. And so, obviously, we used him because of that at the beginning, and he got a lot of usage as a result of that in the beginning. But, obviously he got used a lot at the end once he got Fire Punch, because then he had, like, finally more fire type stab, and it was pretty strong fire type stab too. But there was that, so it's like, at the beginning of the game we used him quite a bit, at the end of the game we used him quite a bit, but there was just, like, that middle point in the game, that midpoint, where Gerald really wasn't getting a lot of usage, and I'm glad that he didn't stay in that midpoint. I'm not glad that they showed me a Magmar, that's making me so sad, but, I'm glad that there was like, after that midpoint, a sort of resurgence in usage of Gerald, because I was getting worried. I will admit, because Gerald was not putting in the work that I wanted him to. Like, a lack of stab is just crippling, because he was doing so much less damage than everyone else, because everyone else had stab. Like, most Pokemon do have stab. and stab is obviously like a very big advantage. Like Pokemon that have stab and versus Pokemon that don't have stab, it's just kind of like better. So the fact that Gerald just didn't have any stab was sort of crippling in terms of usage. I'm trying to see where I'm actually trying to push this before I accidentally push it in a way that is gonna screw me over. So I need to be able to push it down so that I can push it over to that button. So if I push it up one more, then it's gonna be like there's gonna be a wall directly above it, which means I'm not going to be able to push it back down. So I should not push it up until it's hit the wall at the top. That would not be a good idea. But yeah, I did not record for like a week and a half, like maybe 2 weeks, I don't know. I just decided, I was like, I could have recorded this episode earlier. I felt like I was kind of going to get into a groove with this series, but like, I felt like I was going to record a bunch of episodes like really fast. I was really motivated. I was going to be like, oh my god, and I was like, oh my gosh, okay, I'll just like do all of Victory Road, all the grinding, and I'll record all those episodes, like one after another, one day after another, and just like all in a row, and then I'll upload them over the course of weeks, and then the series will be done, and I'll have videos to upload, and it'll be great. I'll get it all done, and I'll get all, like, get a lot of stuff, get a lot of content to post in the coming weeks. I'll just get, like, a bunch of content stacked up, a bunch of content on the line to be uploaded. But then that just didn't happen purely because I think part of me really didn't want to come back to this series like, I needed time to cope with the loss because it didn't affect me that much in the episode. But then I sort of like turned off the recording software. I ended the episode and I'm like, oh my gosh. And then it started to set in, and slowly, like, as I kept on like thinking about it, it just got more and more tragic in my mind. It really did start to like hit me that like I lost a Pokemon, and it was just one Pokemon, but like Gerald almost made it, and that's really sad. Like because it gets to a point where like losing a Pokemon after you've had it on the team for a long time is one thing. Losing a Pokemon when you've had it on the team since like the very beginning, right next to the Pokemon League, like right before the Pokemon League, is another thing entirely. Like that is tragic. Like Gerald almost made it. Gerald was like a cave away from the Pokemon League from the end of this adventure, but Gerald didn't make it. It is really sad when you think about it that way. And I've done randomized runs of Nuzlocke before. I've done regular Nuzlocke before, and I know in a Nuzlocke that one loss usually dominoes. There's a domino effect. If you lose one Pokemon, then you get stressed out and you make stupid decisions that lead to losing more Pokemon. And I didn't want to lose more Pokemon. I didn't want to keep on losing Pokemon and ultimately lead to the end of the run because the run is going so well. I'd played the Pokemon. I've done 10 runs of the Pokemon Ruby Randomizer Nuzlocke, and I can't tell you how many times I lost one Pokemon, said it's fine, I'll just keep going, and then made a stupid decision and lost everyone else. It's like these things sort of snowball at a point. Like sometimes that's what happens, and sometimes the loss of one Pokemon can be like the inciting incident for the loss of everyone else, the loss of the Nuzlocke as a whole. And part of me was just worried that would happen, that was what losing Gerald was, because we had them on the team for so long, and I felt that since we had Gerald on the team for so long, that Gerald was kind of like invincible. I had that in my mind, and then I thought about it, and I'm like, well, if I lost Gerald, then that means I must have done something stupid. I must have done something that I shouldn't have. It must have been my fault, because surely Gerald couldn't go down just because they're Gerald, because Gerald is, like, Gerald's unstoppable, you know? I just had this Pokemon on my team for so long, I sort of forgot that it could die. And I think that when Gerald did die, I sort of like blamed myself, and a lot of the time I do stupid things, and it does lead to me losing Pokemon. But I don't think that was the case with Gerald, because like yes, I could have healed up a little bit more, but that did so much. Like just the critical drill peck, critical stab drill peck is crazy because that's an 80 base power move. If you can get through here, you can go meet the Elite Four. And like, I think that I would have to, like, I don't want to run damage calcs. I'm not gonna run damage calcs because that sounds like too much work. But y'all can run damage calcs in the comments. Please tell me, like, if I made a mistake there, then go ahead and tell me. Go ahead and tell me that I made a mistake. But I don't think Drill Peck would have killed had it not been a crit. Like, I think that there was nothing inherently wrong with keeping Gerald out against the Dodrio. Like, yeah, Dodrio's scary, and I knew it probably had Drill Peck at this point in the game, because I'm pretty familiar with Dodrio's learn set, for some reason. I don't know why, but like, because I've never used a Dodrio. Obviously, I've used, like, Fearow, but I've never used, and that's a Gen 1 normal flying type Pokemon, but I've never used, like, that normal flying type Pokemon. I've never used a Dodrio, never used Pidgeot. So I don't know how I'm familiar with Dodrio's learn set, but I will say that, like, once I saw that Dodrio, I knew it had Drill Peck. Like, the instant I saw it. For some reason, I just know. For some reason, I was just able to determine that. Just, like, by looking at it, I saw it was a Dodrio, I saw the level, I'm like, this thing has Drill Peck. And Drill Peck is scary. That's a high power move. I know. I used a Fearow in Pokemon Ash Gray. I know that Drill Peck is strong. Stab Drill Peck, I know, puts in work. But it was Gerald. Like, Gerald is pretty tanky, too. I think their defense is, like, maybe not defense, maybe not HP, maybe not special, but, like, one of those things is high. I don't know which one it is, but it results in Magmar being pretty tanky. It results in Gerald being pretty tanky. No! Unbelievable! But, like, whatever it is, whether it's high defense, high special, high, something else, high, what is it? High defense, high special, high health. Whatever it is, Gerald, I felt, was pretty tanky. So while I was aware that Drill Peck is a strong move, and that this thing did have Drill Peck, and that Stab Drill Peck is scary, I didn't really... I didn't think it was going to kill. I still don't think it would have killed, had it not been a crit. And, once again, tell me if I'm wrong, but, like, Stab Drill Peck's good. It's not that good that I think it could have killed me with my health that high. And like it critted us, and yes, I could have healed, but I feel like if a crit did that much damage, since we were so close to full health, I feel like even if I had healed, it still would have just one-shotted me. Like, we were close enough to full health where I can say, like, I'm fairly confident the crit didn't matter. I'm fairly confident... Sorry, I'm not fairly confident the crit didn't matter. I'm fairly confident that the healing wouldn't have mattered. I'm fairly confident that the crit would have one-shotted. I'm fairly confident that it would have killed, even if we were at full health. We got Dig here. Let's see if we can learn... Anyone can learn Dig. That would be useful. We'd be able to learn Dig. That would be helpful to us. Yes. I'm going to not delete a move by being stupid. Carly. You can learn Dig, which is great, because we got a lot of normal type moves here, which is good because you're a normal type, that's Stab, but we could get rid of, what do we want to get rid of here, because, like, Strength is just strong, Swift is never misses, Bite is flinching, so all of these moves sort of serve a purpose. And we already have a 2-turn move. But, like, more Stab is good. And this is a physical attacker with pretty good physical attack. Oliver. Wait a minute. hold on. Before I do something stupid, isn't this a ground type move? That's physical? And don't we have a physical ground type? And then learning dig? Yes, please, get me out of here. Oh, let's try and learn it. No, I press no. I press no. Abandon learning, delete an older move to make room for dig. No. Abandon learning dig. Yes. And instead, we are going to, it's going to put us back in the bag. It's going to put us back in the bag. And so instead, we are going to give this to Oliver, who is our Nidoking, if I remember correctly. Hopefully I do. I should know this by now. If it's not the Nidoking, then I will be kind of disappointed in myself, not gonna lie. Yes, this is the Nidoking. Poison Sting is good, that is stab. But this is also stab, and this is much more powerful stab. It's a different kind of stab. That's poison type stab, this is ground type stab, but they're both stab on this Pokemon, because this Pokemon is a poison ground type. So, I wanna, even if Poison Sting's really, really weak, I kinda wanna have both sources of stab. Isn't even worth it, though. Like, I'd like to have stab for both of the types that Nidoking is, but at the same time, Poison Sting's just so unbelievably weak. Horn Attack is literally just like Slash, but with less power and no high critical hit ratio. It is literally just Slash, but worse. Like, there is nothing about Horn Attack that makes it any better than Slash in any way. Slash is just strictly better. So we really don't need Horn Attack. And Poison Sting's kind of useless too. We can get rid of either of those moves, really. Get rid of Poison Sting. Poison type stab, great, wonderful. It's wonderful to have stab for both your types, but at the same time, gosh, is Poison Sting like utterly useless at this point in the game. That is 15 base power. We're not gonna mess with Moltres down here. We're just gonna walk right past him actually, because, well, it's a frickin' Moltres, and it's probably like level 50, and it's probably gonna sweep through my team. And it's not even actually a frickin' Moltres, it could be a frickin' some other legendary. It could really be any legendary, it could be a Mewtwo. If it's a level 50 Mewtwo, then I guess we're just kinda screwed if we enter that battle, so let's not be just kinda frickin' screwed. Let's, just walk past it, is my prerogative at this moment. We're gonna swap in against this Snorlax. Andrew is getting to half health, which is a little bit scary, not gonna lie. Carly. Carly will probably be able to deal with this, right? Carly is the Eradicate. I was wondering what Pokemon it was, because I saw the burn, and I'm like, well, depending on which Pokemon this is, the burn doesn't really help. It doesn't really, like, might not really do anything. And critical hit headbutt is not the best. But now that I know that, I forgot who Carly was for the moment, but now that I know that I just sent in our physical attacker who is burned, well, that's kind of unfortunate, isn't it? Like, literally any other Pokemon being burned would have been more beneficial than this. Like, better, we could have dealt with it. Carly being burned is like, oh, this Pokemon is now utterly useless, huh? I was wondering why I wasn't using my Eradicate. I was wondering why I thought the situation was so dire. Because I'm like, oh yeah, this is a bad situation and all, but at least we still have our starter and our Eradicate. Well, our starter is now at half health, and Eradicate is burned, and now also apparently at half health because of that crit headbutt. Thanks a lot, Snorlax. But yeah, now that I know that the one that was burned was Eradicate, because Eradicate's kind of the ace in the hole. Eradicate is kind of the one way I switched to it, because I'm like, yeah, Eradicate's got this. Like, Eradicate, I know I could just send out the Eradicate at basically any time, and they could deal with pretty much anything, because they're tanky, and they got the high attack. Like, Eradicate is sort of my ace in the hole, my trump card. It's like, when I need something that I know is gonna work, I switch to Eradicate, and so I'm like, well, Eradicate's still kicking, he's still at, like, full health. So I think that we're fine. But now that I see that Eradicate is burned, that is, slightly less reassuring. I also want to get Andrew out of the front, because while they have a lot of health, still being at half health is kind of worrying. Rather have, Nidoking in front here. Nidoking has not only more health, and is more tanky, but also has less of their health taken away. Oh my gosh, just brain work, please. I've literally jumped, popped in and out of several menus at this point. Just like, Pokemon, no. Items, no. Moves, no. I'm just trying to push the rock. My brain was not working. My brain was like, where do I go to use strength? Is it in items? No. Is it in, Is it in moves? No. Is it in Pokemon? No. Well, it is. And then I was like, wait, it is. And so I'm just like, sitting here, clicking through all the menus, trying to find where strength is, because this game isn't like future games where you could just like click on the rock and use strength. I don't know what future game you could click on the rock in. I keep saying click on the rock, you don't click on the rock, there is no mouse. It's a, I was gonna say console game, not really a console game, it's a handheld game, that still doesn't have a mouse. But we are met with two options here. We got a ladder that goes down, and like a path the other way that has like stairs going up to it. So one is progression, I'm guessing, and then one is like a bonus room. I don't know which one is the bonus. I'd like to go to the bonus first, just to like get everything. Oh, maybe. Oh wait, actually, this is just going back to where we were. Actually, this is not even like a bonus thing. This is just like we were here before, and now we've gone around in a circle. We sort of like went up the ladder, then like found a secret passageway using strength, like to go back down, and then we got to like the other part of this floor where we couldn't get to before because where you're supposed to get Moltres, but we don't want Moltres. So we just sort of took like the secret path to Moltres when we don't even want Moltres in the first place. So that was kind of pointless. So we're just gonna go back up. No messing with Moltres. Nothing we have to do but down here, really. So we're gonna go back over here, and we're gonna continue exploring this room, because clearly, like, surely there's something more in this room than just, like, way to enter bonus area for Moltres. Certainly there's, like, actual progression in this room, too, because if there's not actual progression in this room, I don't know where I'm supposed to go. If there's not actual progression in this room, then I'm officially lost. I was met with a choice between the ladder and the path, and either one, as it turns out, would have led me back to places I've already been. So, I will choose neither and go back up the ladder from which I came. So yeah, basically, in previous episodes, I've sort of been talking about, like, New Super Mario Bros. Moving on from the Gerald topic, because I think I've said enough on it. Like, I miss him. I'm sad that I lost him. But life goes on, and we will win it for Gerald. End of conversation. End of that topic. But yeah, basically, in previous episodes, I've been talking about New Super Mario Bros. Specifically New Super Mario Bros. 2. And I think it's fitting that I've been talking about New Super Mario Bros. Because I feel like at this point, we're at a point where a lot of people are really talking about New Super Mario Bros. Because they feel that they can, like, talk about it sort of in, like, retrospectively now. Because they believe it's coming to an end. They believe that, like, with Mario Wonder has sort of brought about the end of the New Super Mario Bros. era of Super Mario Bros. And a lot of people are really happy about that, from what I find, because they think that sort of like all New Super Mario Bros. Games are the same. They're all like way too similar, and a lot of people really didn't like New Super Mario Bros. They liked the original, because the original was really cool. There were a lot of really cool things about the original. I agree with that, and a lot of people seem to agree with that. But, trainers live to seek stronger opponents. But, obviously where people started to get upset was when they kept on pumping out New Super Mario Bros. Games, because the original New Super Mario Bros. Was really good. There were a lot of admirable things about it. There were a lot of things that were designed really well about it. And there were a lot of, like, really cool aspects of it. And people were just really happy, I'm sure, to see the return of 2D Mario, because they hadn't had, like, a real new 2D Mario game in a while. Because they'd been just getting 3D Mario games. Kind of like where we are now, really. Before Super Mario Bros. Wonder, where we just hadn't had a new 2D Mario game in a while. They'd just been remaking old ones. So really, there was, like, the era before New Super Mario Bros. Where there was, like, a drought, so to speak, of 2D Mario. And then they like, cured that drought with New Super Mario Bros. And then there was the drought that we most recently experienced. There was, like, the drought after New Super Mario Bros. Had sort of come to an end. where there were no more new 2D Mario games again, that was ended by Super Mario Bros. Wonder. So in that way, it's sort of history repeating itself. It's like, well, after the original, like, Super Mario Bros. Trilogy, like Super Mario Bros., Super Mario Bros. 2, Super Mario Bros. 3, and then Super Mario World, they kind of stopped with 2D Mario, took a break to do, like, some 3D stuff, because, like, 3D was the trending, it was, like, the new trending fad thing, and yeah, sure, they had remakes, in the coming years, like, the coming decades, but it wasn't really, like, any new 2D Mario game. There weren't really any new 2D Mario games coming out since, like, 1996 when Super Mario 64 came out, and they started, like, making the 3D Mario games. Because, like, in 1996, obviously everything changed. Now they can make 3D platformers, so that from then on, it was sort of, like, these, like, 2D Mario games started to, like, die down. The original Super Mario Bros. Trilogy had come to an end, and Super Mario World had happened, and that was pretty good. Like, a lot of people love Super Mario World. But then after that, it didn't really go anywhere else. Obviously, there was a Super Mario Land game somewhere in between somewhere in that time period. Oh, so strong! I don't know exactly when the Super Mario Land titles came out, and then obviously there was Wario Land following that, which is another, like, 2D platformer style of game that is, like, Mario adjacent, but it's not really Mario. It's not a new 2D Mario. It's a 2D Wario. Like, Wario Land plays very different from Mario Land, from what I understand, and Mario Land itself plays very different from other 2D Mario games. But only the chosen can pass here. But, basically, Super Mario 64, like, I feel like 2D Mario was already dying down after Super Mario World. Like, whenever that came out on the Super Nintendo, then from there was no real, like, Super Mario, after Super Mario World came out on the Super Nintendo, there was no real drive for them to make any more new 2D Mario games. And yeah, sure, they made, like, Game Boy ports and stuff, like, Game Boy remakes and stuff, but, like, ports to other consoles and handhelds and stuff, but, like, there were no real new 2D Mario games for a while after. There were no real new 2D Mario games coming out after Super Mario World for a while, and then Super Mario 64, like, kind of secured that. Like, it was starting to die down. Like, Super Mario, like, the releases of new 2D Mario were starting to die down. There were starting to be, like, less and less of them, and then, like, less and less new 2D Mario content, and then, like, it was already dying down, and then Super Mario 64 comes in and changes the Super Mario engine to 3D, and now, like, Mario games are going into 3D, and they sort of have completely forgotten at this point about, like, the 2D games. And yes, while the 3D games are coming out, while we're in that era of, like, the 3D games coming out, where it's like Super Mario 64, then Super Mario 64, then Super Mario Sunshine, then Super Mario 64 DS, and it's just like a bunch of 3D games coming out. While we're in that era, like, there are, like, remakes and stuff of old 2D Mario games. Obviously, like, as there were, like, as Super Mario World was dying down, as the 2D Mario engine was dying down as a whole before Super Mario 64. Like, after Super Mario 64, 2D Mario was kind of, like, dead for a while, and they continued to make remakes just as they had, like, before Super Mario 64, when it was dying down during that period. Like, in the period between Super Mario World and Super Mario 64, they continued to make remakes, just like they had done there, at that time period. They would continue to make remakes like that, like, just like those sort of things, while they were releasing all those 3D Mario games, like the Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, Super Mario 64 DS, Super Mario Galaxy, like that sort of era, where there just weren't a lot of, there wasn't, like, 2D Mario games, really. I guess Super Mario Galaxy was after New Super Mario Bros. But, yeah, like, it just sort of, they spent so much, Super Mario 64 really captured everyone's attention, and then Super Mario Sunshine, it captured it even further, so at that point we sort of had a drought of 2D Mario games. I don't believe it! Because, like, the hype for them was already sort of dying down after Super Mario World, because Super Mario World was basically, like, the 2D Mario game that everyone wanted. Like, it was really good, people really liked it. So after that, the hype was sort of dying down, I guess, for 2D Mario, because people just, like, felt it was a really good game, and they really were, like, satisfied with that as a 2D Mario game, and they didn't really feel like they needed any more, really, that much, I guess. I'll show you just how good you are. But, so it was already starting to die down after Super Mario World because people were so content with it, and there was no real drive for them to make any new 2D Mario because the community was, like, sort of satisfied with Super Mario World as their like the go-to 2D Mario title. And to this day, a lot of people, I'm sure, are still satisfied with Super Mario World. I hear constant good things about it. People are always praising Super Mario World as, like, the best, arguably the best 2D Mario game. And I don't know what to really say about that. I kept Alice in against a Mew because I'm too busy talking about Mario. Please don't die, please don't die, please don't die. Thank you. Wow. Okay, that was dumb. That was stupid. That was, like, a me not thinking moment because I'm too busy talking about Mario. I'm not surprised. I don't think that before this series I've had a Pokemon die because I've been too busy talking about Mario, but it seems like the kind of thing I would do. I don't think it's happened yet in this series, but it almost did just then. Oh, Mew used Transform! That's great! Guess what? You transformed into yourself, idiot! What was the strategy? He wanted to transform into the Haunter? How would that help you? You should have just, like, attacked me again. That would have been arguably even worse than you just using it on Mew and doing nothing. Turning into a Haunter would have been, like, an even worse option for you. If I hadn't switched out, you would have made, like, an even worse decision. It's kind of funny, actually. But Holly currently is the only Pokemon we have left that is at full health still. So that's kind of scary, but this is a legendary Pokemon. So I'm not too super worried, and I think we're getting close to the end of Victory Road, hopefully. I know we have healing items. I don't want to, like, use them right before we exit, because I find myself doing that a whole lot, where I just, like, use up all the healing items, and I, like, heal all my Pokemon up to full health, and then we just leave, and then it's like, well, frick, I just healed. Like, we just leave, and there's a Pokemon Center right there, and it's like, dang it, I just used up all those healing items, and then there's free healing right there. Like, I just sort of, like, have that habit of using the healing items, and then, oh, look, Pokemon Center. And it always annoys me, like, every single time. Because, like, yeah, I probably have enough money to get, like, 20 times the potions I currently have. Like, getting more potions isn't really an issue. I'm furious! That's exactly what I'm thinking when I use the potions. And then I come to a Pokemon Center, and I'm like, frick, I wasted healing. But, like, yeah, it's not really that much trouble to buy more potions. Like, it really isn't a big problem at all, I don't think. Like, I honestly think that I could buy just, like, way more. I could do that several times, and it probably still wouldn't be a problem. Ice Beam is scary. We have good special. I think we're good. I think we're fine. Oh, gosh, critical hit. I was watching the health drop, and I was like, I'm not about to lose another Pokemon, am I? So, you know how I said I don't want to waste healing items? Well, this would be a great time to potentially waste healing items, because, 5 health is, we do outspeed and probably kill, but, like, what if the Flamethrower misses? What if it's, like, the 1 in 255 chance that the move with 100% accuracy misses? What if that happens right now, and just Haunter dies? Like, Alice does outspeed and does kill, but what if they just didn't? Like, what if we just missed? Despite the fact that it says 100% accuracy, what if we just missed? There's a chance. In other games, there wouldn't be a chance, but in Gen 1, I believe there is a chance. I believe that there is a 1 in 255 chance that any move will miss. I believe that is a glitch that exists in these games. Pokemon Red and Blue. But, yeah, just, I'm trying to, like, continue talking about Mario. That instance of Alice almost dying twice in a row is kind of distracting me from the whole talking about Mario thing. Like, I went to go continue talking about Mario, and then found that I completely lost my train of thought, and they landed another crit on us! Of course they did! Okay, we're healing Alice again. Not taking chances. Not taking any more chances. Alice has almost died enough times, and we have had a Pokemon die. I no longer feel invincible. Gerald has taught me that Despite how long we've been at this, despite how long I've been playing this game, despite how long we've been going with this team, I am not invincible. Gerald taught me that, and so I will be careful. We are frozen. That's a pain in the butt. And I kind of want to switch Pokemon now. 85, we will live a crit. So, since we are going to live a crit, I will take this opportunity, knowing that Alice will live the next hit, no matter what, to heal up another Pokemon, which would be best to handle the situation. I think Oliver would be best to. No, that's a stupid decision. See, that's what we in the business call a stupid decision, because Oliver is a ground type. You idiot, don't do that. I think Oliver would be best to handle this situation. Nope. My brain just, like, pulled back on itself. My conscience was like, nope, stop it. What are you doing? What are you doing, you big fat idiot? What are you doing? I think Oliver would be best to handle the situation. And then my brain's like, no, he would not. No, he literally would not. So now Alice is on the verge of death, but this Articuno definitely does not have Pursuit, so we're good, we're switching out. Articuno just, like, somehow has Pursuit. It learned the TM for Pursuit, even though this isn't a trainer's Pokemon. Just like wild Pokemon picked up a TM. Articuno somehow has Pursuit. Kills us before we can switch out. Imagine. Imagine what's not physically possible. It's not physically possible, but, like, imagine it. But, yeah, let me see if I can get back into a flow of Mario commentary. Let me see if I can, like, relax myself a little bit more. Like, chill out a second, go back into the flow of Mario commentary, go back to the nice, chill flow of Mario commentary. That'd be great if I could just go back to that. We're not gonna get pursued. Articuno doesn't learn Pursuit. It's all good. It's an irrational fear, really. My irrational fear of Articuno using Pursuit on me, even though Articuno in no instance learns Pursuit. I just look it up, and it turns out that Articuno gets Pursuit. I don't know why Articuno would get Pursuit, but I don't know why, like, any Pokemon wouldn't get Pursuit, if that makes sense. Like, pursuing someone is just a thing that any Pokemon should be able to do. At the same so I'm like, why would Articuno get Pursuit? But at the same time, I'm like, why wouldn't Articuno get Pursuit? Because, like, why would any Pokemon not be able to get Pursuit? It just seems like something any Pokemon would be able to do. Any Pokemon should be able to pursue another Pokemon. But I'm glad that not every Pokemon gets Pursuit, because that would make everything so much more terrifying. So I don't see why things don't just... I don't see why everything doesn't just learn Pursuit, but I'm glad that that's not the case. Now we push this rock down, so I'm assuming that there was a button here, because there's a wall here that is the type of wall that gets taken down by a button. And so I'm assuming there's a button around here that we can push this rock onto in order to take down that wall, because we've been in this room before, but clearly there was nothing in this room there was no rocks in this room in this area. Maybe in this room, maybe in this, like, floor of the cave, there were rocks. But there were no rocks in this area which could be pushed onto a button in this area. Because there's a button in this area, I guess, that we need a rock to push onto. And I guess there's just no rocks. There was just no rocks around. No rocks that we were able to, like, get to this area. Because all these, like, areas are separated by, like, these platforms, these, like, rocky platforms, where there's, like, stairs for you to get up, but you can't push a rock up the stairs. So, like, I'm sure that we have to push this rock somewhere. I'm going to check to make sure I don't push it to a situation where I can't, like, do anything with it, where I just, like, soft lock myself and I have to, not like soft, it's like a soft lock. I don't want to get into a situation where I just, like, pushed it the wrong way, and then I pushed it into a corner, and then I have to, like, go back up a ladder or something to, like, reset it. Obviously I can do that. Obviously it's not, like, a big deal, but that's just a waste of all your time, and so I wouldn't want to. Polly's at a good amount of health. Polly's above half. That's pretty okay. This is a level 24 Pokemon, so I'm not, like, particularly scared, because every Pokemon we have is over half its level. Over half its level? That would be terrifying. Over half its level, I guess, would be, like, literally any level above 12. But, if it was, like, under half its level, that would be terrifying. So now we're poisoned. That's unfortunate. I hope we have antidotes. If we don't have antidotes, then, I'm very concerned for Polly's well-being. Please tell me I bought antidotes. I probably bought, like, full heals. I probably did not buy antidotes at this point in the game, but I probably do have some full heals in here somewhere. Let's check the good old item bag. Let's check the backpack. Backpack, 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 backpack. I'm a backpack loaded up with things and knickknacks too. Anything that you might need, I got inside for you. Except antidotes, apparently. No antidotes. So, that's not good. Hang in there, Polly. Hang in there. Polly's got a decent amount of health. We just gotta keep on watching. We just gotta keep on making sure that Polly doesn't die. So let's hope we can get out of here pretty quickly before we run out of hyper potions and Polly just succumbs to the poison. So for that reason, while I could heal up Pokemon on my team, like any Pokemon, we have hyper potions right now. We have a lot more hyper potions. I kind of don't want to use too many of them healing up my team, because I would like to use them to make sure that Polly doesn't die, because if our legendary dies, then that's like, that's horrible. That sucks. Like, that's not good at all. If, like, everyone else, if they die, it's an emotional attachment. With Polly, it's not an emotional attachment. I just got them, like, a couple gyms ago. But, with Polly, I'm not upset because it's an emotional attachment. With Polly, I'd be upset because I just lost a legendary. Like, every other Pokemon on this team, there's an emotional attachment. Like, if I lose you, I will legitimately be sad because I will miss that Pokemon. But, in the case of Polly, yeah, I think that I just kind of, like, don't care because of it's a Pokemon that I formed a bond with. No, I actually care because it's a legendary, and I kind of needed that. Like, if I lost Polly, I wouldn't even be upset because I lost a Pokemon that I loved. I would be upset because I lost a Pokemon that was useful, which sounds like really harsh, but I really have not had a lot of time to form a bond with this Pokemon. So, it is the truth, unfortunately. Sorry, Polly. You are still relatively new in terms of everyone else on this team. Who is the newest besides Polly? I'm trying to think. It's Alice, right? Alice was the most recent one? Or was it Carly? I'm trying to think, like, because I feel like Alice and Carly were around the same point in time. For a second, I didn't see, like, the poison thing, and I thought that we could just keep on pushing this rock, and it wouldn't do, like, the poison taking damage effect. That would have been really funny if there was just, like, an exploit, like, when you're pushing a rock, your Pokemon can't take damage from poison for some reason. Because it wasn't doing, like, the little shutter with the screen. So I was like, wait a minute, can your Pokemon just not take damage from poison while you're pushing a rock? Does it, like, mess with the whole concept of, like, walk and they take damage? Does it mess with that whole operation of, like, every time you take 4 steps, they take damage? Does it, like, does it do something to that makes it, like, not work? Does it alter that in some way? Does it make that not work somehow? But, it did not. It was not an exploit. I could not combat poison by pushing a rock, apparently. Unfortunately. That would have been a really funny exploit if you could just, like, push a rock around. And please don't kill me. You're a Geodude. You're not gonna do that, right? Like, this is not gonna... These crits are scary! Aren't crits determined by speed in this game? How is this Geodude faster than a Mew? I mean, Mew doesn't look that fast. Yeah, Mew looks pretty fast, actually. Like, Mew doesn't look fast, but Mew, like, seems fast. Like, if you think about Mew, like, I'm sure it can fly. It can fly, which already flying is sort of like a thing that people think of as fast. Like, superheroes, there's a lot of superheroes that can fly, but, like, think about how few superheroes fly slowly. Like, usually flying just implies speed. And, like, I guess flying doesn't have to be faster than walking. I guess that's not, like, a certified... I guess that's not, like, a thing that is a... What is it? I guess that's not, like, a necessity for something to be considered flying, that it has to be faster than walking. It just sort of has to be able to get you places more efficiently than walking, because obviously, like, flying is traversing the sky, so, like, things on the ground don't bother you. So you could just, like, walking is obviously, like, slower than flying in most situations, because there are things that get in your way that don't get in your way while you're flying. So in most cases, yeah, flying is faster, but not because, like, flying itself is actually faster, but because, walking, you have more obstacles in your way than flying. So, like, the action of flying is not really doesn't really have to be any faster than walking, even though most of the time it is. In most depictions of things that fly, I'm sure they do fly faster than walking, but like, theoretically flying doesn't have to be faster than walking. But it is still, like, even if it isn't, like, on its own faster than walking, it is still, it is still, what do I want to say? How do I want to say this? Even if it's not, like, itself faster than walking, even if the action of flying isn't necessarily faster than the action of walking, flying is still faster because you don't have those obstacles to avoid, you just fly over them. But anyway, we got out of Victory Road. As I thought, it took 2 episodes. This was quite a long episode, but it's not like the longest episode we've done by any means. It's not like I was stretching this to make it fit into, I was like doing a stretch to make it fit into any, in order to make it fit into 2 episodes. It's not like I was like, trying to make it fit into 2 episodes, like really, like a whole lot. It's not like I was trying a whole lot. But, I'm gonna deposit Gerald. Rest in peace, soldier. It's not like I was trying to make it 2 episodes. It's not like I was like stretching this episode for an absurd amount of time just to make it 2 episodes of Victory Road. Like, I wasn't even stretching it. I wasn't even doing like a really long episode just to make it sure it fit into 2 episodes. I was doing like a perfectly normal amount of time for this episode, I think, because like 40 minutes like is a lot, but it's not like by any means the most we've spent. We are at the 46-minute mark, so this is going to be like a relatively long episode, but it's not by any means the longest. I think that I have done episodes that were longer than this in order to try to fit like a certain action into a certain amount of episodes, but this is not even a case of me like rushing through or making the episode absurdly long to fit it into 2 episodes. This just fit into 2 episodes. Like, this wasn't even that long of an episode. Like, it's a long episode, but in terms of like long episodes, it's not a very long episode. In terms of long episodes, it's a short episode. It's a short, long episode. But anyway, we now have a spot open on our team, and I don't know how many of these Pokemon are like actually alive. I don't think Edmund is dead. I'm gonna have to check in between episodes, but suffice it to say, I don't remember what Edmund is, first of all. What is Edmund? It sounded like a bird. They were not a bird, that's a Cubone. I don't know if Edmund ever died. I do seem to recall Edmund now. I do recall this Pokemon never getting any usage. But, I don't think it ever died, purely because it didn't get any usage. I think that I had it on the team so I could sack it, but I don't think I ever got around to sacking it. But here we are at the Pokemon League, the end of the adventure, but we're not going to go in just yet. We're definitely not ready. The champion has like a level 65 Pokemon, I think, so we gotta grind. Especially we gotta grind Edmund. I'll have to think about it in terms of like whether I want to actually do grinding in episode or grinding out of episode. And it's just a lot of grinding is the thing. Like, I have made you guys watch a lot of grinding episodes, and I think that this will take up a lot more grinding episodes. So I do want to, like, I love making content and all, but at this point I just want to get this series done with. I just want to get you guys the conclusion to the series as fast as possible. So I think I will just, like, do it off cam. I think I will just do it in between episodes. And then I might just, like, speed it up. I might just do, like, a grinding montage at the beginning of the video. Never done that before. Don't really know how to, but I'm sure I can figure it out. So, thank you all so much for watching. Eevee Clan. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And hopefully in the next episode, that will be me fighting the Pokemon League. The exciting conclusion, or at least part 1 of this exciting conclusion. I might split it into 2 parts. The exciting conclusion of the Pokemon Red Randomized Nuzlocke. Thank you all so much for watching, Eevee Clan. And this is Alex Espion, signing off.